Sir, let's go to the issue of the resolutions inside the Supreme Court na isa rin sa mga sinasite ni Attorney Gadon. One of them is the RCAO, the ARCAO, yung pong pag-revive ng ARCAO ni Chief Justice Sereno, which was disputed by Justice Teresita Leonardo de Castro. Tapos parang nagsabi na nag-issue daw ng nag-issue ng corrective resolution. But in your verified answer, you said, hindi naman nag-issue ng corrective resolution. What she issued was a resolution addressing the problems when the ARCA was piloted.
Right.
To the public po kasi baka it would appear that bakit yung unang resolution ni Chief Justice, bakit hindi na-address kaagad? Parang baka sa perspective ng tao, nagkamali siya, napagalitan ni Justice De Castro, kaya nag-issue ng bago. And this is what Larry Gadon also said in his complaint na tongue lashing daw ang inabot ni Chief Justice from Justice
alam
De
mo,
Castro.
those statements are very, for me, no, very sad. You use the word napagalitan daw ni Justice De Castro. I think this is one thing that I have to be quite emphatic upon, no? The Supreme Court is composed of learned men and women. You know, personally, I have always maintained this. I've addressed this in all of my conversations with your friends in mass media. I have the highest regard, the highest respect for all of them. But here's my point. You know, that ARCAO thing pertains to internal rules by way of implementation by the Chief Justice because after all, she is the designated administrator. You know, all lawyers would have varying interpretations on specific rules and laws. But the point is this, the operative word here is internal, all right? In this case, the ARCAO, my understanding is that there is a general internal rule to the effect that the Chief Justice is given a wide latitude of discretion with respect to implementation of these administrative matters. There is need to consult the en banc if there were a policy change. That is my basic understanding. But may I revert to my point? These are internal matters. And you know, they are brethren. If Justice De Castro would have taken exception to the administrative action of the Chief Justice in this regard, well, the fact that she was able to air it and the fact that it may have been tackled in an en banc session, well, that for me is great because that is an indication that the internal system or processes within the Supreme Court, which by the way, I should stress is a collegial body, it's working, Lian. You know, the fact that these brethren may have disagreements, that is the essence of an en banc session. That is why there are many different minds that comprise the Supreme Court. If they have disagreements, if they have different approaches that they would like to pursue, here's the thing. We should let the court as a collegial body address all of these disagreements as a body. There may be or there should perhaps be no need for a co-equal branch of government to involve itself in the internal workings of a collegial, independent body. The fact that you mentioned that Justice De Castro was able to voice out her concerns regarding this ARCAO administrative action of the Chief Justice, for me, only serves to indicate that their processes are working. You get my point, Lian?
Yes po, yes.
So, there will always be disagreements among great minds. And that is, for me, wonderful. So, that's my point, Lian.
Sir, baka to the public kasi ang perception sa kanila, while there are disagreements and we say that we celebrate the disagreements in the SC, baka ang dating ay, bakit lagi na lang kinukontra si Chief Justice? Because recently may memorandum ulit si Justice De Castro disputing a lot of her actions like the appointment of the PNC head,
you
the
know,
travel
but how many
allowance.
of those memoranda, how many of those ponencias of her were the subjects of full agreement by her brethren? You know, we focus on the negative things, but you know, this most productive court has resulted in many ponencias, meaning decisions of the Chief Justice, which were unanimously supported by her brethren. So you see how it works, no? Right now, there is this impeachment complaint against her. So it is so easy for the public to focus on the divisions, the dissensions. But it is best remembered, there are also agreements, there is also instances of unanimity among the entire court. Well, you have to temper these considerations. We cannot proceed, Lian, you have to understand, in terms of perceptions. You know, the point is this, assuming there were internal strife, no? Does that rise to the level of an impeachable offense? Well, we respectfully submit that it does not. And that is one of our main points.
I remember Attorney Alex Poblador saying in the last press conference that these matters are just a disagreement of the extent of the administrative power of the
Precisely.
Chief Justice.
Precisely.
Sir, do you remember a former Chief Justice that got this much contention to how, kung ano lang yung cover ng administrative power niya, or is this Chief Justice Sereno the first time na a Chief Justice is experiencing this?
I'll tell you this, no, I am not privy to the workings or goings on in the Supreme Court. But I'll tell you this from a practical perspective. Every leader has his problems. Every administrator is besieged with disagreements regarding interpretations on administrative actions. I think it would not be correct to say that Chief Justice Sereno her case is peculiar, that she is the only Chief Justice who has been besieged with problems of this character. You know, even during those days of Chief Justice Fernando, Chief Justice Narvaza, I am certain that they were also faced administrative disagreements of this character.
Sir, let's go to the newspaper reports which make up bulk of Larry Gadon's complaint. And you already said, and we're aware na in a court proceeding, these are hearsay evidence.
Yes.
Pero baka po sa tingin ng public, kasi the newspaper reports, the sources are within the SC itself. Minsan, sometimes it's the justices are the sources pa. So ano po kaya yung parang, it paints a picture of Chief Justice Sereno with her staff or colleagues leaking information against her.
Alam mo, Lian, you know, we are not prepared to join this bandwagon of thinking, this chorus na saying that there were leaks in the Supreme Court and the leaks now would be members of the court or colleagues of the court. This is for Attorney Gadon to explain, no? We will not join the chorus and simply say, without any evidence whatsoever, that the information that is being leaked would emanate from members of the court itself, because that is a very serious accusation, and it would be very irresponsible of us to, you know, even lean toward that. My point is this, no? It is Attorney Gadon who made the basic allegations here. He is the one who has presented certain documents, unauthenticated or not. I'm not certain at this point, no? I think at the first instance, it is Attorney Gadon who should explain as to who disclosed these pieces of information to him, because it would be, after all, relevant to the determination of whether or not he has personal knowledge. And, you know, if there were indeed leakages, as the public may perceive, no? Well, I think this is a matter that must be addressed by the court as a collegial body. They have to be secure in their processes. And I think this is a matter that should not concern only the public, but the court as a body as well. Now, this is serious, di ba?
Sir, I'll push the question some more. Sabi ulit ni Attorney Gadon, he has at least 6 justices who have committed to testify against Chief Justice Sereno. Do you know how she feels about this kinds of pronouncements?
Well, this much I will tell you in my limited conversations with her, no? But this was pronounced in our conversations. No? We have the highest respect. We have the highest admiration for all members of the Supreme Court. I know some of them personally, and I have always admired those whom I know personally. No? My point is, if they have something to say about these proceedings, by all means, the nation should listen. By all means, our friends in the House Committee, they should assess what they have to offer, if they have anything to offer. But I just hope that this particular consideration would be tempered by an equally important consideration, that if they speak, the Chief Justice should be allowed to respond. That is all.
Sir, when you say she should be allowed to respond, sasalang din po ba siya?
No. Respond in
Through
any
your
means that are
pleadings.
allowed. No? But essentially, I think she will do it by cross-examination of counsel of the honorable justices of the Supreme Court. We hope for that the committee would allow this. No? After all, what are we all after, Lian? We are after the truth. Certainly, frowning upon the possibility that members of the court would testify would do us no good. In fact, it should be encouraged if the rules of the Supreme Court would allow it, if they really have a sincere concern, a serious one, then by all means we should listen to them. And the Supreme, the Chief Justice is confident, as she has displayed and expressly indicated in her answer, she is confident that she will be able to adequately and properly reply to all of these testimonies that her colleagues may offer.
Sir, another issue is the issue of doing away with the SC recommendation for applicants. And the Chief Justice said 3 justices went to her in confidence to say yung position nila. And you said in your verified answer, she
Again,
will name
yes.
them in the proper. So,
may I point this out at the outset, no? Again, this is an allegation, no? It must be supported by proof, and then the burden of proof at this point rests on the shoulders of Attorney Godon. He has disclosed by way of allegation an internal matter again in the Supreme Court. While the Chief Justice may be prepared to present counter evidence in this regard, there may be no need for her to do so if Attorney Godon is not able to substantiate this particular matter, which I repeat, is supposed to be a confidential issue or confidential action of the Supreme Court.
sir, would there be justices who will be willing to testify for the Chief
I'll put
Justice?
it this way. As much as possible, and this is clear from my conversation with the Chief Justice, our purpose in participating in these proceedings is because as Chief Justice, she has to uphold the Constitution. She has to abide by the rules of the House and the laws that may be pertinent here. The thing that we would avoid the most is to give any impression in the minds of our countrymen that she will be engaging in a brawl, in a street gutter fight. No, that would not become the position of she will do what becomes her as a Chief Justice. She will proceed with dignity as is her duty. She will proceed in an honorable manner. We will not engage in fisticuffs in the sense or in the context that the public has, there is some perception that is what may happen. Leon, you have to understand, we will not do that.
Sir, one more time, will Chief Justice Sereno resign? Is she thinking about resigning?
Never an option, never considered, because this is not just about Melo Sereno. This is about the office of the Chief Justice. Well, the dignity attached to the office, it must be defended. It must be maintained. This is beyond the office of the Chief Justice about judicial independence. As Chief Justice and as a lawyer, it is her duty to address this, face this squarely, counter it with nothing but the truth. So resignation, it was never an option.